Join us as we count down 10 of the hottest board games, including news on upcoming expansions, the end of a franchise, and a product in need of replacement. It's all coming up as we count down the top 10 hottest games as of August 2018. Hey there, I'm Chaz Marler from Pair of Dice Paradise and BoardGameGeek. And welcome to this month's Top 10 Hottest Games, which is based on the titles that are generating the most traffic and discussion on the BoardGameGeek website over the past 30 days. These games are tracked on the site's Hottest Games list, and the higher and longer a game remains on the list throughout the month, the higher it ranks on the top 10 overall. Now, 162 different games appeared on the list over the past 30 days, and we're going to look at the top 10 of them. Starting with... Kicking things off this month is Scythe by Stonemaier Games, which drops 5 spots to end the month at number 10. Scythe has been a recurring presence on the top 10 for months, but could Scythe now be running its course? In a recent statement, Scythe's designer, Jamie Stegmaier, listed the final products that are planned for Scythe, including the game's final expansion, the Rise of Fenris, followed by a neoprene playmat for the game, metal versions of the mechs, a promo pack of fan-inspired encounter cards, and a modular board. Now, Stegmaier stated that these upcoming Scythe accessories, quote, go beyond what I originally envisioned when I announced that we were winding down the Scythe journey with the Rise of Fenris. I really do not have any plans to make more Scythe stuff after this. So, as the Scythe universe winds down, will its presence on the top 10 follow suit? Well, we'll find out as we continue to track Scythe's placement on the hotness list in the months to come, but in the meantime, let's move on from an old favorite to a newcomer in spot number 9. Entering the top 10 for the first time in spot number 9 is Cthulhu Death May Die, designed by Rob Daviau and Eric Lang. This game, published by CMON Games, recently finished its Kickstarter campaign and, as of the time of this recording, is still accepting late pledges. Cthulhu Death May Die is similar to other games inspired by the writings of H.P. Lovecraft in that players are investigators in the 1920s who are researching mysterious, otherworldly elder gods. However, instead of trying to stop the arrival of the elder gods, players actually want to summon them so they can put a stop to their terrifying shenanigans once and for all. The game plays out over the course of multiple episodes, each having a similar 2-act structure. In the first act, players progress towards summoning the Elder God, and then, in the second act, they attempt to permanently destroy the ancient invader. The episodes all stand alone and don't need to be played in any particular order, or even with the same players. So tell me, are you insane enough to go tussling toe-to-toe against the game's Elder Gods, including the nearly 2-foot-tall Cthulhu miniature that was available during the Kickstarter? We'll see if this crazy scheme the investigators hatched is so crazy it just might work when Cthulhu Death May Die starts shipping next summer. Coming up next is Spirit Island, which continues to haunt the top 10, dropping 2 spots this month to manifest itself at number 8. In the game, players are different spirits of the land, each with its own unique elemental powers, who work together to defend their island home from colonizing invaders. The game's publisher, Greater Than Games, recently announced that 2 new playable spirit types will become available in an upcoming expansion. The Grinning Trickster, who stirs up trouble, and the Vengeance-Seeking Burning Plague, which sounds incredibly unpleasant to be on the receiving end of. The spirit abilities and cards from the expansion appear to still be in development, but once released, the expansion will add support for up to 6 players, plus additional adversaries and scenarios. The Kickstarter for the upcoming Spirit Island expansion is currently scheduled to go live within the next month, so keep an eye out for these new tactics to help you and your fellow spirits protect your island. I almost said it correctly. You and your fellow spirits protect your island home. Eclipse, Second Dawn for the Galaxy, makes its second appearance on the countdown this month in spot number 7. This version of the game, published by Colossal Games, introduces quite a few revisions and alterations from the original version, which was first published 7 years ago. This second edition's modifications include adjustments made to better balance the various factions, a reduction in the game's length by a round, a change to the way diplomacy affects a player's ability to travel through allies' territories, storage trays that are also used in the game to track resources, new miniatures, and even more stuff. But Eclipse still puts players in control of a vast interstellar civilization competing for control of star systems, technologies, and resources. Now, if you're not familiar with Eclipse, then this upcoming new edition may be an excellent point to jump in and stake a claim to your sector of the galaxy. For a 5th month in a row, Azul claims the title of the highest-ranking abstract strategy game on the countdown. That's not the only title that Azul has recently claimed. On July 23rd, Azul was announced as this year's Spiel des Jahres Game of the Year award winner. Azul could not be reached for comment, which is okay because it is an inanimate object. In Azul, published by Next Move and Plan B Games, players take turns drafting colored tiles from suppliers to their player board, which they'll use to score points based on how they've placed them. Now, extra points are scored for specific patterns and completing sets, while wasted supplies deduct from the player's score. Now, Azul brings me to this month's big, fancy question. Was Azul the game that you would have picked for this year's Spiel des Jahres winner? Let me know why or which game you would have chosen instead in the comments below. This month's biggest climber is Founders of Gloom Haven, leaping up from spot 45 to settle in at number 5. Founders of Gloom Haven is a competitive, tile placement action selection city building game in which players control a fantastical race working to build the city of Gloom Haven and gain favor and influence over its residents. I have been repeatedly reprimanded for referring to this game as how to win friends and influence people in Eurogame form, when in actuality, the game features an auction mechanism in which players vote periodically to determine which new buildings become available and where they're going to be placed on the board, meaning that players must win their friends' votes in order to influence people. Wait a minute. Now, while this game is set in the same universe as Gloom Haven, it does have a much different feel. So while it rocketed up the hotness list this month, I wonder if it's got what it takes to stay hot enough, long enough to rival its predecessor. Well, we'll find out as we continue to monitor its performance in the months to come. Next up on this month's countdown is the Seventh Continent, coming in at number 4. The Seventh Continent is a massive choose-your-own-adventure type exploration game in which players will investigate a land fraught with danger and wonders. The Seventh Continent features a unique saving system that allows players to stop the game at any time and then resume their adventure later. This saving mechanism inspired BoardGameGeek user Nitric to develop a digital version of the game save system using a Google spreadsheet. The document that he created is compatible with smartphones and tablets and can also be printed out. It supports English and French and can be used to save multiple game sessions. So if you're looking for a virtual way to save and access your Seventh Continent game saves, well, then be sure to check out this online tool developed by Nitric. Rounding out the top 3 this month is Arkham Horror the card game, which leads players through dozens of hair-raising scenarios in the Lovecraftian universe. Arkham Horror the card game is a descendant of the Arkham Horror board game, which was first published in 1987. A brand new revised 3rd edition of the Arkham Horror board game was unveiled at Gen Con just earlier this month. The 3rd edition of the game will include 12 investigators, 4 ancient ones, and a modular board, which is a major design change from the previous versions. Will these changes to the Arkham Horror board game catapult it on the top 10 to join its card game counterpart? Well, we'll find out in the months to come, but for now, let's continue on with the next game in our countdown. Holding steady in spot number 2 on this month's list is Terraforming Mars by Stronghold Games. Terraforming Mars' momentum has most likely been helped by its well-received expansions, the 3rd of which, Prelude, will be reaching store shelves any day now, maybe even today if not yesterday, or tomorrow, or some days from... The point is that it's coming out real soon. Chatter online suggests that some players out there are concerned that the cards in Prelude may suffer from an issue that affected the previous expansion, Venus Next. With Venus Next, there was a print run in which the cards were cut to the incorrect size, so they didn't quite match up with the cards from the base game. But if your copy of Venus Next has incorrectly sized cards, you can contact Stronghold Games and they'll send you a correctly sized replacement deck for free. Now, in this video's description, I'll include a link to the online form which you can use to submit your request for replacement Venus Next cards if you need them. Now, hopefully, the Prelude expansion won't encounter this same glitch, but if it does, it's kind of nice to know that Stronghold Games and their printer, Ludofact, have been supporting the game by offering free replacements. And finishing off this month's countdown in the top spot once again is, surprise, Gloom Haven at number 1. Gloom Haven has just dominated the hotness list for so long, you can't back out of your driveway without bumping into someone playing it, talking about it, or giving it an award. In fact, I would not be surprised if we were to see a digital implementation of this game developed in the near future. Well, the future is now, because on August 2nd, Asmodee Digital tweeted that they will be developing a digital version of Gloom Haven to be released on the Steam platform in early 2019. The game's digital development team mentioned, quote, "Flaming Fowl and Asmodee Digital have teamed up to make you once again live through the epic journey of Gloom Haven, digitally. Our development minions are working days and nights so that you can discover or rediscover this one-of-a-kind tactical turn-based RPG." Now, this development raises just a lot of questions here. Are you going to be clamoring for this dungeon crawler to come to your computer? Or will you be sticking with the tabletop version of the game that has dominated the countdown since last November? What other forms do you think Gloomhaven will take? Will you watch a Gloomhaven animated series? Do you have a Gloomhaven tattoo? And if so, is it in the same place as mine? Let me know in the comments below, because I've already said too much. And there you have it, your list of the 10 most popular board games as of August 2018. And for more board game countdowns, news, previews, and playthroughs, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the other videos posted on the channel. Thanks, until next time, I've been Chaz Marler from Pair of Dice Paradise and BoardGameGeek, and take care. Instead of trying to stop the arrival of the elven gods, and all of the different dwarves that are also in Cthulhu, Gloomhaven, Gloomhaven. Ah, nice lady, play Gloomhaven. Gloomhaven. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the other pirates. It's a wrap.